Hi, it's Ramon of Cultured Naturals Body Care. I'm encouraging all my fellow business owners to join the Office of the Governor for the 4th Virtual Community Business Forum from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Wednesday, June 16th. This is the big one. Royal Caribbean is back to headline this event and planning to do a deep dive on their expected return to St. Thomas and St. Croix this summer. Yes, you heard me right. Royal Caribbean expects to return to the USVI this summer, and we need to be ready. You will also hear from the VI Department of Health on the new business incentive program. If you own a business or you would like to start a business that provides goods and services to cruise ships or its passengers, then this forum is for you. Join the conversation. To register, visit www.vi.gov/CBF or call 340-774-0001.
Greetings, Virgin Islanders. I am Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach. COVID-19 continues to be a serious public health threat. Many of us are going about our business as if the disease were a thing of the past. Regular double-digit surges in a number of positive cases tell us otherwise. Too many are disregarding safety protocols, increasing the community spread and putting lives at risk. As a result, there have been required closures in a number of government offices and private businesses. I understand that there is some reluctance regarding the vaccine. I personally took my time and did my research so that I could understand how the vaccine works and why getting it was my best protection. It was the right choice. Please get vaccinated and adhere to the orders set by Governor Albert Bryan Jr. and the Department of Health's guidelines regarding mask wearing, social distancing, and proper hygiene protocols. Take your best shot. Get the vaccine.
Good day, Virgin Islanders, at home and abroad. Welcome to the Government House Weekly Press Briefing and COVID-19 update for the week of June 7, 2021. COVID statistics in the Virgin Islands today, we have 8 active cases on St. Croix. We're doing really great over on the Big Island. 7 on St. John, which is quite high for the smallest of us, and 111 cases on the island of St. Thomas. 5 of the individuals on St. Thomas are actually hospitalized, with 1 of those individuals who needs the help of a ventilator to breathe. We are, very concerned with the persistence of the surge on the island of St. Thomas. And we can keep everyone safe and healthy while allowing people to be fully employed and to earn a living to take care of themselves and their family. Yes, we can have our cake and eat it too. But if we want to do that, we have to do the most basic things in order to make that possible. We all have a little COVID weariness and we're tired of wearing our masks, but we must continue to persist by practicing good hygiene, social distancing, and getting somebody to get vaccinated. All of the protests that we hear and all of the people that come to me and say, Gov, you need to do this, Gov, you need to do that. The one thing that I'm not seeing people do is taking people to get vaccine. We should have people herding us, their friends, neighbors, their loved ones into our community vaccine centers, into the doctor's office. I want to say a thank you to my partner out there in Cookie Point, who told me this weekend, he said, man, I rung up all them, man, and I take them to get a vaccine. We need more of that. We need community activism in terms of getting people to the vaccine, because if we get to this herd immunity, we can really be through this. I know what you're saying, talk is cheap, money talk. In order to really encourage you to do the vaccine, though, we finally decided to jump on the bandwagons of a lot of other states. You see, our vaccine calling has gone to a trickle now. It continues to go down. People are not calling in, and we're stuck at that like 40,000 number. It's my goal to get to 50,000 Virgin Islands by July 1st. I still have faith that we can do that. So in order to give you a little bit of encouragement, what we're going to do is we're going to be a part of the new vaccine lottery. That's right. I'm announcing a vaccine lottery in the Virgin Islands where we will be giving away $100,000 a week for the next 10 weeks, starting a month from today on Tuesday, July 6th. So you got plenty of time to go and get your vaccination now. So if you are already vaccinated, you will automatically be included into the drawing. And if you're not vaccinated, like I said, you have plenty time to go and get vaccinated. So every week, we're going to put everybody's name who had a vaccine into a pool, and randomly it'll spit out one winner. That one winner is going to be the winner of $100,000 every week for 10 weeks until we give away $1 million of funds for encouraging people to be vaccinated. Now, if you have a son, daughter, both, 3, 4 kids, every time you enter one of them to the vaccine, to get a vaccine, that's your name again. So if your 3 kids get vaccinated, then you have 4 chances to win the vaccine. If your husband gets vaccinated, that's yours too, just take it. That's your chance to win as well. The other thing that we wanted to do with this is to make sure that only residents can win. So if you don't have a local address on your vaccine, then you don't win. We'll put your name back in and we'll swap it out again until we make sure that all local people are the winners of this $1 million. Once again, 10 weeks, $100,000 a week. The lines are open now. You can call and start to make your appointment for your vaccine. In other news, we have been working with the Biden-Harris administration, the CDC, and the cruise lines on ways to safely restart cruise travel to the territory. Those conversations have been going really good, and we are close to having cruise ship calls again in Charlotte, Mali, as well as in Frederiksted. As it looks now, Barbados will be the first to host a major cruise line with American passengers. This is a promising sign. After more than 1 year without cruise travel to the region, But as we celebrate the resumption of such a critical industry for our island, it comes with like a great concern that the state of Florida has passed legislation banning the cruise line from requiring its passengers from being fully vaccinated. This action contradicts everything the CDC and all the prevention guidelines and what we too as a territory has been saying. We have to have a 95% vaccination rate in order to let cruise ships back into our country, into our territory rather. So what I did is I sent a letter to Florida Governor Ron DeSantis pointing out to him that all these things are going on and he needs to reconsider his legislation. I also sent a letter under separate cover to the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and Grenadines and also CARICOM Chairman, the Honorable Ralph Gonzalez, asking for the support from the Caribbean region in finding a path forward to restarting the cruise industry in a manner that protects not only our residents, but the residents of all the Caribbean islands and our health resources. I point out to Governor DeSantis, while I appreciate his push for freedom and the ability for people to choose, the real issue here is these cruise ships are bringing American tourists to small islands like ourselves with scarce resources in terms of hotel rooms right now. We don't have any place to quarantine people because all our hotel rooms are filled. Our hospitals have limited ability to bed people. We have limited personnel in terms of being able to share. Even if we had the space to accommodate 100 beds, where would we find the nurses and the doctors to do so? Even more so in the other lesser Caribbean islands, you don't have the vaccination rate you have in the Virgin Islands. We're actually leading most of these countries in terms of the reaching herd immunity. So our plea really is for our Caribbean brothers and sisters. Remember, one Caribbean, if we don't have cruise travel, they can have cruise travel and vice versa. Those ships go from island to island and could end up spreading this virus with 1 or 2 or 3 people positives. So we had long conversations with our Department of Health, Port Authority, WICO, and we stressed to the cruise line partners, like, we need you to be 95% vaccinated. And when we say 95%, the other 5% are like children who cannot be vaccinated and the like. So we'll be discussing this matter, not only with the Honorable Ralph Gonzalez, but the Prime Minister of St. Lucia, the Honorable Alan Chastanet, and to assist us and to keep pushing on this. Because as a Caribbean people, wherever island you come from, we need to hold one head when negotiating with the cruise line. Florida is the nucleus of cruise industry in the United States, where most of these cruise ships are headquarters, and has the infrastructure there ready to control who comes to not only the Virgin Islands, but other Caribbean islands. They have all the ports, facilities there, and we've been doing good in managing our virus. And we don't need major disruption to not only our way of life, our tourism product, and things we want to do because people are not vaccinated. So we are continuing to use whatever limited resources we have to try to make sure that we have this thing under control. And we're going to fight for our Caribbean brothers and sisters, because we know with all of us together, I think we can get Governor DeSantis to change his mind. And if nothing else, I am really, really praying to you and urging the governor of Florida, you could write him to give us an exemption. We understand you don't need it in your state, but we as the Caribbean islands, we need this greatly. The next thing I want to talk about today is the budget. It is non-COVID related. I know last week we had Mr. Motor on here talking about our submission to the legislature of our executive budget proposal that I thought was a good thing, budgeting for 2022 and 2023. This is the first time in the history of the Virgin Islands that we put a 2-year budget in for consideration. Let me show you why this makes sense. You can not only plan for this year, but you know what your outlook is for next year. We're able to make investors feel confident about putting in the money. You feel confident that, hey, there's a 4% increase in there for employees in this year's budget. There's a 3% increase in there for next year's budget. You could start to think about, well, maybe I'm going to buy a car or I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to put down on a piece of property. The revised Organic Act mandates that the governor of the Virgin Islands submit a budget annually in May. That's all it says. And we did. If the legislature chooses not to approve a 2-year budget, so be it. But the fact is, we're thinking ahead, and we would like them to help us and do this too. The Virgin Islands has been mired too long in the problems of today without the foresight of being able to see what we're looking towards tomorrow. My administration sent a budget that meets all the requirements of the revised Organic Acts and actually exceeds it because there's no requirement to do 2-year budgets. So if anything, we submitted next year budget early. So I really would like to urge the legislature to adopt this 2-year budget. One of the reasons why we did it this year is because next year is the election, and then the final year. In a normal submission, I did it, every governor before me did it, your first year in office, you're using the budget of the previous governor. So if we do it next year, whether I'm reelected or they have another governor, for 2 years they would have the budget of the governor before. So this is a perfect year in which to submit the budget for 2 years and approve it. Remember, we have a full-time legislature. The budget can be revised at any time. As a matter of fact, we are submitting a budget revisal right now in order to do some things and start to get ahead of what we want to do. So I just want to point out some facts about our budget that I thought was really a good thing. One of the things that I really wanted to do, and as an administration, Tregenza and I made a commitment of paying back $110 million in funding for payment of overdue tax returns. Now that's for next year. This year, we're well on our way to hitting our $60 million, and from all indications are that we're going to exceed that in trying to make that. We also put in funding in there for the Office of Gun Violence Prevention. I just had the pleasure of participating in the Gun Violence Summit in New York, which I was late, which is why I was late today in making this at 2 o'clock. We want to develop a territorial park system. Just like the National Park Service, we want to be able to have a park system that includes the marine parks, specials, preserves and beaches and places that we think should be in a place forever. We also want to make sure that we put some money away. So we've been steadily putting aside budget dollars to make sure we have a rainy day fund. There's $15 million next year just for the rainy day fund. Repaying the people, as I said, is a priority for us. We want to repay the $38 million of the 8% that was taken back in when things were brown in the last recession. We removed 8% of all the salaries. We want to pay that back next year. We've included that as well, legislation that we're sending down to the legislature so they could sign up for that. So all of the money from the excise tax will go directly to paying back the 8%, and we'll get that to you. You know, the legislature also made note that I didn't send any funding for the GRS. This is one of those places where it always makes me chuckle because we have proposed at least three ways to get our GRS system. The Cannabis Act, which is still not passed by the legislature. We also propose refinancing to put the $85 million in there every year for 3 years. And also we propose send that back down a second time, which would have allowed us to do that. And then a third time, which would just allow us to reduce our debt. We continue to work with the legislature, and I know when I say these things, they think I'm picking on them, but I'm not. I'm just stating the facts. We continue to work with this 34th, and I think we have a good working relationship with the leadership there. to secure the funding for the GRS. Matter of fact, last Friday, we hosted a municipal bonding session. So we got all our financial advisors together to talk about bonding and what the market looks like. We invited the legislature, our cabinet, all the heads of the agencies, WAPA, VIHA, and the other, to talk about this bonding session. It was about a 2.5, 3-hour session that I think went really well, but it was created to bring some light to the incredible opportunities in the bond market to reduce our debt and actually fund the GRS. I continue to stress the importance of refinancing our bond debt, not only because it's prudent, because it's fiscally responsible. It is the fiscally responsible thing to do. But this market that we're looking at, this climate in the bond market right now, it just is an amazing opportunity for us to refinance our debt and use the savings to put some cash in pressing obligations like the GRS. And without any other measure presented, it's been 7 months now since we proposed the last thing, and we're sitting around waiting to see if anything else will be proposed by anyone. We have not seen it. We have not seen anybody bring anything else to say this better. This is our plan, and we want to move forward with it. Now is the time to take advantage of it, and that's why we had this session with the legislature. We plan to go back to see if we can reach some kind of consensus with the body of what we're going to do to put some money into the system immediately. All this talk about funding the GRS out of the general fund budget, it just isn't going to happen. We have to figure out a way to put some quick cash in there, refinance, and get us a pension bond and put some more money in the GRS, and then continue to do the changes that will strengthen the system and allow for people to retire at a reasonable age that will give the system some life. So the low interest climate in the market is not going to be there forever. We have to act and take advantage of this incredible opportunity. We don't have another 7 months to sit around and do it, but I know that my friends over there in the legislature, the Senate President, Vice President, and all the leadership in there, we're going to come to a meaningful consensus and bring some change, like money change, and some physical change to the characteristics that we're seeing here with our GRS system. In closing this afternoon, I don't have school-age children anymore, but, I have a daughter who's online going to college, and I listen to her and her troubles with professors and the way they teach and the style. But regardless of that, no one can deny that our children have taken a grave impact by being online for almost 1.5 years now in schools. And, we've tried to figure out, like how do we get students up to par? What can we do to make students able to perform at a level that not only we are pleased with on a local level, but on a national level as well as a global? We sat down, we gave it some thought, and we said, what we're going to do? We're going to call this the Summer of Learning. So how do we do that? Well, one of the things that we did is we made sure that we gave the students the extra $1,000 to help them transition into school if they're going to trade school or they're going to college when they graduate. The other thing that we did, we gave education some money. They're going to be running some programs in order to get kids back up to speed. Then we gave Housing, Parks, and Recreation some money. They're going to be running summer programs to get students out and again and get them active. Well, what else could we do? We decided we would give each of the community foundations, the St. Croix Foundation and the Virgin Islands Community Foundations, $1.5 million each. What is that for? That money is for people who have proposals to do tutoring, reading support, math support, being able to help students read and comprehend, whatever it is in learning, to be able to put that money out there and get it funded. So we're giving each of them $1.5 million. They will be setting out the guidelines of what kind of programs that you can apply for. So if you have a business and you want it, and you have it in education and in training, you can apply for those individual grants. They haven't given any cap to say how much each grant will be awarded, but I have assured them that we're going to be able to fund these things way beyond this 1.5 million if necessary. So whatever it is your program is, we encourage you to look out for those flyers from the Community Foundation and send it in to get it funded for the children of the Virgin Islands. We've also funded programs that take off through the entire school year, so that after school support as we send students back to school will be there. The other thing that we did is that we took $2,500, I think $2,500 is a max amount, and we decided to give per private school student $2,500 to the school directly. That will help for any of the offset from last year in terms of books, special circumstances, testing, laptops for teachers, whatever it is, in order to participate. We really feel strongly about education, and we're putting our money where our mouth is. If you have suggestions about what else we need to fund and how we can do this, please let us know. One of the things that we really wanted to do, we wanted to make a lot of programs available so you can have small settings, which takes care of the pandemic threat for those students. So we'll continue to fund those. We'll continue to look for more opportunities in our community. The last thing I would like to say in our budget, we submitted a $1.4 billion budget, $936 million, $100 million more than the year before. And in saying all of that, we did not include the $515 million that we have in extra support for COVID. That money actually is not going to expire till 2026. We did receive some correspondence from the delegate and senators asking us what we're going to do with that. That money is not even available to us as of now. It's going to become available soon. Those are always questions from people in the community, but as you know, the territories lag a little bit behind in terms of funding. So once we get a firm grip on that, I think you're going to be very pleased to see that we've already have plans to expand our water systems, our sewer systems, our broadband, our home ownership capabilities, as well as strengthen and support education around COVID, and a little reward for those workers out there who were hardworking and in the territory doing their due when everybody was locked away. So stay tuned for those. As the summer moves on, we'll be making plenty more announcements. That's all I have for you today. I'll take some questions from the press if they have any. Go ahead. Hi, Suzanne. Go ahead. You're breaking up. It's your cell phone. Say it slowly.
What is happening in Weston?
There was a bomb threat called into the St. John Weston this morning. Authorities are reporting from Puerto Rico in order to assess what's going on with that threat and if there really is a bomb over there. That's the story there. As far as I know, we're collecting excise tax as normal. It is certainly being reflected in the revenues that we're receiving.
Right, so are you collecting excise tax on local manufacturers? Because the first month it was only $26 that was collected from businesses.
I will have to check up on that. I know we were making some adjustments around the local manufacturers. I would assume and say with a firm answer on that. Yeah, what we're doing is we're working with waste management in terms of flushing the system and making sure that that's not, if that was an issue, that we eliminate it. Checking their lines and stuff right now to make sure that that's going on. We continue to monitor. Our Lime Tree is down, as you know it. They're working with the EPA and they anticipate being up within the 60 days. Right.
And the latest one is very, I don't see any arrests associated with those.
Well, I think we make arrests all the time, specifically to what happened this weekend on St. John. I haven't heard of any arrests being made, but I'm sure that is under investigation as we speak. We've been knowing about the St. John tourists coming back in the night drunk. We've been trying to put extra patrols. We are particularly challenged last week because we've had some outbreak of COVID in the police force. So we were kind of down on the numbers. We should be over that hump and be able to regulate what's going on with the tourists, particularly in Red Hook and that boat coming back late from St. John. You have a lot of drunken tourists and people who are at their wits' end and trying to control what's going there. So we should see some tightening up there. I was told there was a hit and run as well last evening on the Brookman Road. That's a place where we constantly have to go out and use the COVID task force to break that up. So we're going to continue to do that and try. I try to keep the businesses to be okay, but you know they have to be responsible for the patrons that are creating some of these situations that are bad for residents and for the tourists alike.
All right. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Susan. Go ahead. Go ahead. Next question.
Hello, good afternoon, Governor Ryan. This is Ali Martinez with USCI News.
Okay. Hi. How you doing? Hi, Ali.
Hi, I'm doing well. I'm doing well, thank you. I have a question. Perhaps you can provide some clarity. I want to know if you could share a comment or again some clarity on Lion Bay Ventures, their LLC being dissolved according to Reuters. Clarity perhaps on, you know, would they still be back up after 60 days of being shut down by the EPA, or with them being dissolved, does that mean that they are out of the territory completely?
No, it doesn't mean that they're out of the territory. I think a lot of that restructuring was due to how they're financially structured and things that they did in order to separate the investment from other interests. So, like right now, they're in trouble. I would not be one to say that the refinery is seeing a bit of a trouble now financially. They have these EPA concerns. They're over budgeted. So we're working with them to try to make sure that they can get the refinery back up, but do so in a safe way that protects our residents. But if they can't do it, then they can't do it. But we're trying our best to work with the EPA. We have had a discussion with the region. This shutdown that they had is an extreme action of the EPA. It has only been invoked 11 times in its 50-year history. So we understand the shutdown and we respect that. We want to make sure that Lime Tree does what they're supposed to do within the 60 days and then return to safe operations, providing jobs and much needed investment in our territory.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead, next question. Hello? Go ahead.
Hello.
Hey, Ernest, how you doing?
Good one. A few questions. First, there seems to be $550 million that will become available. You said it will be available soon. You mentioned some of the projects the administration has already in place for when one of those comes online. What does soon mean? How soon are we talking about?
Well, I think we should see the access to those funds within the next 2 weeks or so, maximum. But to tell you the truth, we have access to a lot of money that we're trying to put to use all the time. We still have residual money from the $75 million that we had from COVID. Originally, that's what we're using to do some of the promotions like the lottery, and we have some other things that we want to do. We're going to be running a series of vaccine-only concerts to encourage people to get vaccinated so we can have festival this year in St. Croix, number one actually for people to be safe. So we that $515 million, we have until 2026 to spend it. Our revenues are really good. We just put out at least $30 million in projects with local funds for road paving, building docks, on-ramps and off-ramps, improvement at Frederickstead. So, you know, we're going to get that money out. Plus, we have all the the recovery money coming out too. We're finally coming out. We're going to be going out to bid soon on some major projects. I'll be making some announcements for construction. The airport stuff that's going on with the rental center. We have plenty of money on the docks rolling as well too. So we got a little time to spend that money. And remember, that money was sent to us really to supplement our budget if we didn't make the budget, but we have been recording record revenues in terms of collecting cash. And with the cruise ship coming back, we expect to record even more record revenues. So we want to use that money wisely. Our thoughts right now, like I said, is really expanding our water distribution through WAPA. That would be good for us because residents won't have to build cisterns, which will make home ownership cheaper. Our sewers need to be replaced. That money can be used for that. Broadband expansion, we want to bring 100 megabit service to every Virgin Islander at an affordable rate. That's one of our goals. It's a goal of the president as well. And then there's some huge opportunities in there for home ownership. We'll be dedicating a large portion of money to that as well too. Those are the immediate things that we see that we don't have funding for secured already that we would like to get going on. Yeah. To be honest, I was really disappointed with the rules from Treasury. They are very restrictive. We thought we'd be able to just put the money into our budget and be able to use it. They have a formula there that really, when we use the formula, we can't put any money in there practically because we've made so much money along the way. However, there are significant losses at the hospital, WICO, Port Authority on the cargo side and the marine side that we'll be able to support them and give them some money to supplement for them too. But it's a lot of cash, and we never know what 2-3 years from now will bring. That money will still be available to be able to supplement our budget. If something should fail, God forbid, the refinery closed down, we lose revenues, we'll be able to use that money for a good while. So we're just planning, just like the 2-year budget, planning and making sure we have a little nest egg. I always like to have a little money on the side stashed away for those rainy days because they always come.
Yes, sir. Thanks for that. I was just comment briefly on nitrogen. You can respond to it. It is backed up by EIG, of course. EIG is a major player.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, they still are in trouble because, people don't like to put good money behind a bad. They want to see a return on the investment. Remember, you're talking about a venture that was $1 billion and ended up $2 billion and change. They're delayed because of COVID. Remember, oil just hit $70 again. I saw that today. That's good and bad. Good for the refinery, bad for WAPA. So there was a lot of things that was suffocating that stock and the refinery being able to perform. I think with that much money invested, certainly the refinery is going to stay in operation. Somebody's going to make sure that they get out of this hole and get what it needs. But they need to have the EPA, us, the government, and the investors need to have that confidence that they can do it and do so in a safe way that's not going to cost them money and cost us, our residents' health. Yeah. The devil in the detail, right? I mean, it would cast aspersion if my name came up in there. I just donated to the university anyway. But yeah, that's why we took so long to say anything and to decide to do this, but we're desperate to get people vaccinated. So we decided to take a chance because we knew we're going to hear, oh, all of it going to St. Thomas, all of it going to St. Croix. How come this person win? He's Johnny, mother, cousin, sister, aunt, brother, dog, and that's why he get it. We know we heard all the stories, and we didn't really want to go there with people, but we're going to try to make it as transparent as possible so we have real winners, and we'll have the rules around who's excluded from it, namely the governor and anybody in my immediate family from winning. I'll say that outright. If anybody close to me was to win it, they'd be encouraged to donate it to the University of the Virgin Islands. Except for Richard Mota, he would get to win it, you know. Anyway.
It's going to be lights up. Are we going to, what are some of the rules around it, and also how soon do you expect to go online?
So that's why we said July 7th. But we want people to start getting vaccinated now in anticipation of the lottery coming in July 7th. We're giving everybody a chance. We're going to have the rules and everything around it. We're doing it in conjunction with the lottery, the help of Raymond James and his team over there to do it because, you know, that's our lottery experts. So that it's done in a fair way and people win and feel good. And everybody feels good about somebody in the Virgin Islands getting $100,000. Actually, 10 people getting $100,000. But the main impetus is to go out and get your vaccine. It's a small price to pay, $1 million, if we could get 10,000 people to get the vaccine. So go out there and get it.
A quick note about that, a few more questions, but a quick note about that is that whenever Dr. Ellis, obviously the past 2 weeks, talked about the number of folks vaccinated and Leopold speaking out in there, she mentioned about, in total, there are over 60,000 folks who have at least gotten one dose. So,
No. Remember, the second dose is a function of the first number. So if there's 60,000 shots that were given, 40,000 people have at least one shot and 20,000 have two. That's not the statistic, but that's where we're around 40-something thousand now that have actually had at least one shot. So it isn't 60,000. And if we had 60,000 in the territory with vaccinated, at least one shot, then there would be no lottery. We would be good to go. Because remember, that's of the vaccinated population. That's only, I think it's older than 12 at this point that can be vaccinated. So that's not counting 12 and under. So that's a pretty, 40,000 is good, but it ain't great. And we need to get another 10,000 on there to really secure it.
I think there needs to be some clarity with the Department of Health and how you set this then. So you're saying in total, whether first or second dose, in total, it's just about 40,000 plus?
No. Total shots administered is around 60,000. I'm sorry I don't have my statistics right here in front of me, but I'm going to go to the vaccine page while we sitting here, and I'll let you know what that is. But for the most part, it's about 60,000 shots that have been administered in the territory, and a total of about 40,000 around there that actually have at least one shot. I'm looking for it here while I speak to you. But it's not 60, it's just 60,000 shots administered. There's a difference.
Okay, thanks, sir. Thank you to this is we've got a lot of thoughts about this. Folks who have been fully vaccinated, when they travel back, still need to produce, still need to get tested as per the old rules. That is something I will expand on a little bit when it's tested. But, as the comes about this, even if you're fully vaccinated, you still have to go out and get tests and prove that, you're COVID negative to come to pass. When I was going to see a system in place, when the government is able to identify those who are vaccinated, so that they have need to go back. I know a lot of people who are vaccinated.
It should have, the system, Yeah, the system should have been up this week. We're running late on it. There was some final agreements so that you can share health records, you know, the HEPA forms. I didn't think they were signed yet, but within the next week or two tops, we should have it where, like, if you go away, if you've been vaccinated and you put in your name, you'll automatically get green that you could travel. So you won't have to take tests anymore, because I know some people, it's getting expensive when you go to the States finding testing or whatever. So once you're vaccinated, your name will be in there. You won't be required to take a test. The vaccine numbers are 41,673 that have at least one shot, and 35,486 that are completely vaccinated. So you add that 35 and 41, and we've administered a total of 76,000 shots, but only 35,000 of them are completely vaccinated, and 41,000 only have one shot. So there's 6,000 people waiting to get that second shot. You follow?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Go ahead. I think the only person left really is Lasiba. That's the only one I didn't hear from today. Are we done? We have one more person on the line. Go ahead, you have a question?
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Okay, yes. I just have several clarifications. First of all, if the company does not eliminate the $5,000 fine for businesses that require the vaccination, are you not going to allow them cruise ships to enter the territory?
You understand the question?
Second of all,
Could you repeat that question about, what was the question about?
yes, about the Santis or the Florida governor's order. If he persists with his order, are you not going to allow them cruise ships to dock in the territory?
I would say this, the only cruise ships that are going to be able to dock are cruise ships that have a 95% vaccination rate. How they get there, I don't know. But if they're going to dock here, they got to have that 95%.
Okay, and then I have a question about the budget. In terms of the proposed refinancing, the bond issue refinancing that you were talking about, do you know how much is that going to be? Do you have a figure?
So there's several,
Proposing for the bond refinancing?
there was several where the original two proposals were $1 billion proposals. They were about $1.02 billion in terms of the refinancing, and that would give $85 million per year to the GRS for the first 3 years, and then about 10 to 15 million every following year up to 10 years. The last proposal that we sent was just a straight financing without any money to the GRS, so it would be straight savings to the government. It was an $880 million bond issuance, and that was tabled by the legislature. They didn't vote on it. They sent it back to finance. So those are the two proposals. We really like the former, giving the money to the GRS, but when we sit down with the legislature, we'll come to some agreement on which is the best way forward. As you can see, our revenues are looking strong this year, next year, and the year after. So we are confident that any bond issuance that we make, that we can make the payment as we've always done. The Virgin Islands is a good credit, even though our credit rating doesn't show that. We've also shared with the legislature, while we feel that the special purpose vehicle is a way to go for us to get the bond rating that we want, the PFA could issue the debt, but it would just probably be at a significantly higher cost, a higher interest rate. And, you know, why do that when we don't have to? So hopefully we come to some resolve quickly.
So it's regarding the bond refinancing then?
Right. We also, we have a lot of options to do now, because we also have some gross receipt bonds that are actually reaching full term and are actually callable. So there's an opportunity to do those as well too. It's just that I don't have the free will to do it. Otherwise, it had already been done already. I have to depend on the legislature to give me the authorization to reduce the debt of the territory by refinancing this money at a lower rate.
Regarding the money for the lottery, where is it coming from?
Those
1,000 a week?
Those money, that's $1 million, is coming from our COVID money. We can use that money to promote vaccinations as well, and that's what we're going to use for that. We're actually getting another $11 million to assist with vaccinations and encouraging people to take vaccination, because we are too part of the president's challenge to get to, I think it's 70 million Americans vaccinated by July.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you. I have a fantastic day. That's it for me, folks. I'm hoping that you are staying dry. We're getting some blessings with a little rain over the weekend. Certainly messed up the beach day, but we're glad to see a little cistern water flowing, and we want the island to turn green. Remember, stay safe, stay sanitized, and social distance. Love you. Have a fantastic day.
Greetings, Virgin Islanders. I am Lieutenant Governor Tregenza Roach. COVID-19 continues to be a serious public health threat. Many of us are going about our business as if the disease were a thing of the past. Regular double-digit surges in a number of positive cases tell us otherwise. Too many are disregarding safety protocols, increasing the community spread and putting lives at risk. As a result, there have been required closures in a number of government offices and private businesses. I understand that there is some reluctance regarding the vaccine. I personally took my time and did my research so that I could understand how the vaccine works and why getting it was my best protection. It was the right choice. Please get vaccinated and adhere to the orders set by Governor Albert Bryan Jr. and the Department of Health's guidelines regarding mask wearing, social distancing, and proper hygiene protocols. Take your best shot. Get the vaccine.